Good morning, class 12. My topic today is agriculture. Now, agriculture is one topic which you've done in class 10 also. The content is almost the same except few topics which has been elaborated and which few topics have been introduced in class 12. Otherwise, the content is more or less the same, okay? Now, before I start with this topic on agriculture, now just let me briefly tell you the importance of agriculture in a country like India, okay? Now, first of all, you know it that India is an agricultural country. The gross domestic product, the total national income that we have, it totally depends on agriculture, which plays a very, very important role. And it's because of agriculture, industrialization is taking places, okay? And because of industrialization, you know, urbanization is there, and that is helping India to develop, okay? So when you're talking about agriculture, nearly around 80% of the population that we have in the country directly or indirectly depends on agriculture. Okay, agriculture plays a very important role because the basic necessity for human existence is all from agriculture. Okay, we depend on it directly as well as indirectly. And you know that when you're talking about agriculture, okay, agriculture totally depends on the monsoons. There are few characteristic features of Indian agriculture. Number one is that it totally depends on the Indian monsoons. As you know, Indian monsoons are unreliable, uncertain, unpredictable, okay. But then also we have to depend on the monsoons. Number two is, you know, preponderance over food crop. That means when you're talking about agriculture we're giving much more importance to food crops, okay. Thirdly, India has 3 agricultural seasons. Okay, we have the Kharif season, which is supposed to be summer, okay, where the summer crops are being grown, and then we have the Rabi season, where it's also called the winter agricultural season, and winter crops are being grown over there, especially crops like wheat. And then you, in between this Kharif and the Rabi season, you also have another season which is called the Zaid, which is also been spelled as Z-A-I-D or Z-A-Y-A-D. These are the agricultural seasons, okay. So these are the 3 important. There are other characteristic features also, but I'm just mentioning these 3 important characteristic features of Indian agriculture. Now, beside we talk about the importance of Indian agriculture, it's very important for us to know the different type of agriculture, okay. Like for example, the main important role that is being played for the development of Indian agriculture is after the Green Revolution, which started in the 60s. When I say this, it does not mean that agriculture did not flourish in the earlier time. Agriculture was been there from the very beginning, from the time when the people started, knowing about planting. Agriculture was being practiced. Crops like rice and all was being grown. Okay, but the real improvement in the agricultural sector in our country started in the 60s after the impact of the Green Revolution, okay. So we have to know the importance of Green Revolution, then types of agriculture that has been practiced in India, okay. Like for example, we have shifting cultivation, you have, you know, intensive farming, extensive farming, you have plantation farming, you have monoculture, you have mixed farming, okay. So these are the different types of agriculture that is being practiced, and along with this you have to know what do you mean by crop combination. When you're talking about agriculture, this terms plays a very important role. What is crop combination, what is mixed cropping, what is intensity of cropping, okay. Because of all this, you know, all these things, these things that has been practiced, like crop combination being practiced, multiple cropping being practiced, we have been able, or the agricultural sector has been able to develop in India. So these are the, and beside this, we are also going to deal with the problems that has been faced by Indian agriculture, okay, and then we are going to do different type of agricultural crops, whether it's a food crop, whether it's a, you know, cash crop, whether it's a beverage crop, industrial crops. All these crops, according to the syllabus, I'm going to explain it to you all, but let me just begin with the importance, and let me just begin with the different types of agriculture that is being practiced in India. Okay, now please open your textbooks, okay, and try to underline few sentences which are important for you all. Okay, now first thing is, the first paragraph, nothing much is there, but you just remember that India is primarily, as I've told you, is primarily an agricultural country. Agriculture is also lifeblood of the Indian economy and contributes around 15.7% of the gross domestic product. Please underline this. This is very, very important. Okay, and agriculture is responsible for feeding our teeming millions. That means the number of growth rate that we are having, where millions of people are being there in the country with the high growth rate that we have in the country. The population growth that we have has to be fed with the agricultural crops that is being growing. Okay, so it's very important that agriculture is being able to provide food crops for the rising population, and not only for the rising population, but also agriculture should be able to provide fodder for the animals. Fodder means food for the animals. Okay, and there are a large number of industries that draw their raw materials from agricultural produce, and those industries which totally depends on agriculture for their raw materials is called the agro-based industry. Or in other words, you can also say it not only supports millions of population, it not only supports food for the animals, but also industries which are based or characterized under the category of agro-based industries. Okay, that's important thing. You just have to know it. Not very, very important, but you should know that. Okay, now when you're talking about India from agricultural point of view, India is a very unique country. The reason behind is because of the vast area that we have, rich soil that we have, high percentage of cultivable land that we have, climatic condition that has been suitable for the growth of crops that we have. And one of the most important point that you have to remember why agriculture is being being practiced in India is because that India has a very, very long growing season. Okay, and that is why in other words we can also say that India is being always referred to as a country of endless growing season, which means throughout the year crops of various kinds are being grown in different parts of the country. And what has favored this is because of the climatic factors and because of other factors like soil, as I've just repeated, soil, like vast level fertile land, vast level lands. Okay, so these are the factors that we have to remember. And along with this, just go through that India is one of the world's largest producer of tea, okay, and coarse grains and some oil seeds, okay, and second largest producer of rice, jute, jowar and bajra, and the third largest producer of sugarcane, tobacco, etc. These are the important things. Just go through that. Okay, now starting with the first important thing. Now this is important: wet and dry farming. You should be knowing what do you mean by wet and dry farming. Okay, and if you go through a textbook, there's a long explanation. You just have to write in a very short sentences and you can just write short answers for this. So wet agriculture or dry agriculture, it's just by the term wet and dry itself means this is an agriculture which is being practiced in an area where there is heavy rainfall or area where there's plenty of water. So since that area has plenty of water, it's called wet agriculture. And in these areas, because of plenty of water, those crops are being grown which requires large amount of water. Okay. In the other hand, when you're talking about dry agriculture means those agricultural crops which has been grown, which has been surviving in those areas where less amount of water is being required. Okay. They don't require larger amount of water. They can survive in less amount of water. So that's the difference between a wet farming and a dry farming. Okay. Now the second one, that you have to remember, okay, along with the dry farming and the wet farming. The second one is crop rotation. Now this is a very important term. Crop rotation plays a very important role in Indian agriculture. Now it is because of this crop rotation, it is because of this combination, mixed farming and all that, agriculture today has been increased in our country, okay. Now crop rotation means, you know, growing of different varieties of crop in the same agricultural field in one agricultural season. Okay, that is called crop rotation. And crop rotation plays a very, very important role because it does not only help different crops to grow, okay, in a year, but it also maintains the fertility of the soil. Because at different times, different crops are being growing rotational wise, okay, and the different crop that is being grown requires different nutrients from the soil. It's not going to exhaust the entire fertility. It's just going to use certain amount of minerals only. Okay, so rotational wise the crops are being grown, and each time different varieties of crops are being grown, different nutrients are being utilized from the soil. So one mineral is being utilized, it gives back another nutrients to the soil. This is how the fertility is being balanced, how the fertility is being maintained, okay. And especially, you know, when you're talking about this crop rotation, you have leguminous plants growing in plenty, like the pulses and all that, okay. And leguminous plants, plus point of this leguminous plant and why it is being grown as a rotational crop is because it has the it has the capacity of, you know, converting atmospheric nitrogen into soil nitrogen. Okay, so that's the significance or the importance of the pulses that is being grown as a rotational crop. Like for example, you know, when you grow rice, okay, when a rice crop is being grown along with the rice plant, you'll find a lot of pulses being growing. Okay, pulses being growing. Now these pulses that is being growing with the main crops adds to the fertility of the soil. Okay, and these crops are always like pulses and all are always been referred to as a leguminous plants, which is adding to the fertility of the soil. So that's crop rotation. Okay, now another term that has been there is called crop combination. Okay, now crop combination is combining different crops. Combining different crops means, you know, the farmers knows, okay, which are the crops that can be grown at one time. So 2, 3 or more than 3 to 4 varieties of crops of different kinds are being grown in the same field at the same time. Okay, so what happens is, like rotational crop, okay, now these different crops that is being grown, there are 3, 4 varieties of crops that is being grown in that field. Now each crop that is being grown over there, okay, utilizes certain nutrients, okay, and gives back other nutrients, which is being again taken by another crop. Understood? So these crops are being combined, okay, and the main reason behind why the crop combination is being done, again the same point comes here. The main reason behind why this crop combination is being done is to maintain the fertility of the soil. And not only this, you know, what happens is different crop that is being grown over there takes different time for harvesting or different times for growing. Some may take 2 months, some may take 3 months, and some may take 4 months. Okay, so supposing if only one type of crop is being grown, after 3 months or after 4 months when it gets matured, so all the crop has to be harvested at the same time. Okay, but if different crops are being grown, different crops takes different time for growing. So what happens is farmers gets work in the field almost throughout the year, or they have a very long prolonged working time in the field. Okay, because one crop has been ready for harvest, and the other crop is again after some time, after weeks or after a month or so, another variety of crop has been ready for harvesting. So in this way, you know, they get almost they get much time in the field. They're engaged. Okay, otherwise they will be unemployed. Okay, so that is also one of the advantages. And another important advantages of crop combination is that it provides additional income to the farmers. Why additional income to the farmers is because, different crops grown at the different time, being harvested at different times, is being sold also. So that is also being giving them extra income. Okay. Of course, main crop is already been there. Okay, along with the main crops, if these crops are being grown, then it also it also provides them with additional income. So that's the advantages of crop combination and crop rotation, crop combination, multiple cropping, okay, mixed cropping. All these are becoming very, very important in a country like India. Like when you're talking about the crop combination, okay, similar to this crop combination, you have mixed cropping also. Okay, you also have a similar term called multiple cropping also. Now, crop combination, mixed cropping, and multiple cropping is almost the same, where more than 2, 3, or 4 varieties of crops are being grown in the same field, and the purpose is also same. Provides employment to the farmers almost throughout the year. Provides additional income, okay, and different crops are being grown at different times. So farmers are being engaged in the field almost throughout the year. So the concept is the same. Okay, so these are becoming very, very popular in India today. Okay, and that is also helping agriculture to improve. Okay, and it is also adding to the fertility of the soil. Okay, so it's all becoming very, very common. Okay, now one thing, let me just tell you, although it's not there in the thing, but let me just tell you, when I talk about multiple cropping or mixed cropping, okay, there's a term called mixed cropping and mixed farming. Mixed cropping outer means different crops, 4 to 5 varieties of crops are being grown in the same field. Okay, as I've told you, the advantages, because it adds to the fertility of the soil, additional income to the farmers gets employment throughout the year. Okay, that is multiple cropping. There's another term called mixed cropping. Okay, there's another term called mixed farming. Now, mixed farming is not mixed cropping. Mixed farming outer means growing of agricultural crops and keeping of animals together is called mixed farming. That you have to be very, very careful. Okay, so that you remember that. And the concept of this crop combination, crop rotation, the term that I mentioned about multiple cropping, these are all common in states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, okay, West Bengal. Now, because it is in these states, agricultural productivity is very, very high, and one of the plus point why this agricultural, they have been able to produce more of agricultural crops in these states is because they have adapted to all these factors. They have started with crop combination, they have started with multiple cropping, they have started with crop rotation. So all this has benefited the farmers. Okay, now we come to the next one, that is called crop intensity. Now this is important. Crop intensity outer means number of crop that has been raised in the field during one agriculture. That means in one agricultural year, that means in 1 year, how many varieties of crops, or how many types of crops, or how many times the crops are being grown in that plot of a land is called intensity of cropping. And intensity of cropping plays a very, very important role because it helps in agricultural production. And this agricultural production that you have from this field adds to the national income of the country. It adds to the gross domestic product. Okay, so which area where the intensity of farming is more, in what kind of an area this intensity of farming is more, or intensity of cropping is more, is very, very important. So you have to remember that intensity of cropping is going to be more in those areas where the soil is very fertile, where the land is flat, okay, where there is a regular supply of water, climatic conditions are suitable. Okay, so in these areas, because of all these favorable climates that we have, intensity of cropping is very, very high. Understood? And when you're talking about this intensity of cropping, you always have to express that in percentage. Okay, like for example, you have the total cropped area, that is the total area where the crops are being grown, divided by the net sown area, and then multiply it by 100. The answer that you get is the intensity of cropping in percentage wise. Okay, so this calculation formula is also very important. Definition is obviously important. And the definition, the word which has been written in italics, like in the textbook, the cropping intensity refers to the number of crop that has been raised on the field during one agricultural year. Okay, and it's always been expressed in percentage, where the total cropped area divided by the net sown area into 100. So answer whatever it comes in percentage. Okay, so intensity of cropping varies from states to states. Like for example, intensity of cropping is very high in states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. Intensity of crops are very less in states like Manipur, Mizoram, the northeastern states of our country. Okay, in those areas. So just remember that. That is known as crop intensity. Okay. Now we come to the next one. That is the problems of Indian agriculture. Now, in spite of okay, before we come to the crops problems of Indian agriculture. Now, let me tell you that India is I've discussed that India is an agricultural country. Agricultural production has increased in the country and all that. But the credit for all this improvement of agricultural sector in our country has gone to the Green Revolution. Okay, the measures that has been adopted in the Green Revolution. So, Green Revolution outcome is the changes that has taken place in the field of agriculture. Okay, so it is the Green Revolution, the measure that has been adopted in the Green Revolution has changed agriculture. It has helped agricultural production to increase. Okay, so there are lots of measures that has been adopted, like using of high-yielding variety seeds, making use of irrigational facilities, making use of insecticides and pesticides and all this. But in spite of this Green Revolution, the measures that has been adopted in the Green Revolution, we are still facing with problems in Indian agriculture. Okay, so let me just discuss few problems of Indian agriculture. Now, first one is one of the major problems that India faces is the small and fragmented land holdings. This is one of the major problems. Small and fragmented land holding means, the land which has been owned by the farmers are very small. Comparatively, it's very, very small. They just, have hectares of land with them. The reason behind is because India, you have this system of law of inheritance. Okay, where, the farmers divides and subdivides the land among the children. This has been passed generation after generation. From years it's been passed. Like for example, a father may have around 10 hectares of land, 5 children. So each child is getting 1 to 2 hectares of land. Again, that 2 to 2 hectares of land again has been divided among the children. So in this way, what is happening? The land is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So fragmentation of land is taking places. So in that small plot of land that the farmer has, it's not been possible for agriculture to be practiced on a larger scale. Understood? They cannot make use of machines. They cannot make use of high-yielding variety seeds and manures and pesticides and all that. They cannot invest. In other words, they cannot invest on small plot of a land. So obviously, in a small plot of a land, if they cannot make heavy investment by buying, good quality of seeds and manures and fertilizers and all that, they will not be able to produce more. So that's one of the major problem, that is small and fragmented land holding, and that is because of the law of inheritance. Having said that, along with the problem, solution is also been taking places. Now, the government have already started with this step called consolidation of land holding. Consolidation of land holding means the small fragmented land that has been there, they are trying to bring it together. How they can bring it together is like they have cooperative farming, where farmers come together. A group of farmers comes together. So when the farmers come together, their plot of land also comes together. Okay, so that helps to enlarge the cultivable land. So that is number one. Another problem is the seeds. The quality of seeds that the farmers are using is inferior. Okay, now why inferior quality of seeds are being used by the Indian farmers is that the Indian farmers are not very rich. They cannot afford to buy good quality seeds. So whatever they are using is of an inferior quality. Okay, so with that inferior quality of seeds that is being used, the production is not going to be very high. In order to use a high, good variety of seeds, they have to invest a huge amount of money in buying a better quality seeds. okay, which is again a problem for the farmers. But again, this is the problem, but the solution has also been done. Okay, the solution is that the agricultural department, okay, the government is trying to provide the farmers with high yielding variety seeds at a subsidized rate. Like for example, supposing if the cost of a good variety seeds is around, take for example 500 rupees per kg, okay, they are selling the same quality of seeds to the farmers at around 200-250 rupees per kg, so that the farmers can afford to buy a good variety of seeds, and ultimately they have been able to increase the production. Okay, so I'm just going to discuss these 2 points, and the next class I'm going to continue with the remaining problems and other chapters. Okay, thank you.